Happy 2/22/2023. Blessed to see another beautiful day. These are the last words from my niece who passed away 1 year ago today on Facebook. Today is a tough day. I'm not going to deny it. I can't even imagine how it must feel for her mother. On this day 1 year ago, we got a call that my niece, her 13-year-old daughter, and her 3.5-year-old daughter, and her husband had taken their lives, and then he took his own. Now, no one can ever prepare you for that. I still remember it was early in the morning, and I could not wrap my head around it. So I know in my heart that they are pushing me and encouraging me just like I'm encouraging you to just have permission to talk, just have permission to openly speak about it and heal about it. Because, I mean, how many times have you wanted to go up to somebody and say something to somebody who has lost somebody they love, but you get stopped? Maybe because you're afraid of saying something. I just met with a dear friend of mine who, by the way, acknowledged today as my niece's day and her children. And, you know, that touches my heart, because now I know that they're not forgotten, you know. I think a lot of us who have lost somebody we love, we think that they're forgotten. We think that nobody's thinking about them. And that doesn't have to be like that. Permission allows us to just openly talk about the inevitable and help heal somewhat of this pain that all of us are going through who have direct loss. My friend, she said to me, you know, Mary, she said that I wanted to acknowledge today because in the past I didn't. There was somebody I worked with who had lost their son, and she never said anything, and she said it haunted her. You know, she beat herself up over it over and over again because she didn't know what to say. And I think a lot of us are like that. I know I have been. I know that I have said, oh, I'm going to call them, and I say, no, maybe not. Maybe they're just having a hard time already, and if I say something, I could really screw it up. But here's the truth, you guys. You can't screw it up. The only way you're going to screw it up is by not saying anything. We have to have this human connection. It's important to the process of healing. It's important for us to acknowledge that my niece and her daughter and her other daughter died because they lived. How they passed doesn't matter to me. I don't want to keep reliving over how they passed. I want to keep living with the thought of how and who they were, for how long they lived, the impact they made. You know, my niece Rita, she was named after my mother, her grandmother, and my sister, she had the middle name of my sister. And, you know, that means something more today than it has ever. She was feisty. She had red hair. She was feisty. She lived the life she wanted to live. She did things when she wanted to do them. She didn't hold back. I admired her for that. And sometimes I remember thinking, sometimes you got to hold back though, hun. You know, sometimes it's okay to be quiet and let things kind of calm down a little bit. And she took my advice. She took some of my advice. I know that. For sure. Julia, who was a great baker, she baked everything with love. She said that's why it tasted better than anybody else's. I just see her beautiful, beautiful presence in that kitchen, making brownies, or always looking out for her younger siblings and always loving her older brother. And she just loved everybody. She was so family oriented, and she cared, you know, but she was starting to get in the teenage years where it was getting a little bit awkward. And I remember Mom calling me one day saying, Aunt Mary, what do I do? Because Julia's talking to boys now. And I'm like, yeah, Rita, that's kind of the deal. That's what they do when they're 13. And then sweet little Omni. Oh gosh, if you could imagine a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old, she dressed in more clothes outfits in a day than in a week. She loved playing. She did puzzles like nobody's business. And she simply was the joy of so many people's life, and they still are today. So we choose, I choose, my family chooses. We encourage you, talk about the loss of your loved ones with your family. It doesn't matter how people die. I think that's getting way out of hand. I think it's getting commercialized, and it doesn't need to be. It's when we die. It's when we go. And we don't have to stand in silence anymore. I'm not going to. I feel like all of them, whether you believe people are in heaven or not, doesn't matter. The fact is that their presence, their human life remained here with us. We had an opportunity to love them and them love us back, and that you can never deny. So my name is Mary McElhatton. I am the founder and creator of Permission Mission, a place where we are bridging the gap between life and loss, promising value to both. So please just like, comment. I encourage you to comment, because I don't know what you're going through, and I certainly would like to. I'd like to acknowledge your loved one, maybe share a fun little story about them or something in particular about them that you remember and you want everybody to know and never forget. So it's the only way we're going to get through this is together. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you honoring my niece and her 2 children today on this very day, 1 year ago today. Thank you.